Shabbat it is, yeah. A little Shabbat. So friends, we're working out some technical difficulties with the stream. So this is your Shabbat schmooze time, okay? So enjoy schmoozing, and we're going to start as soon as we get our stream up and running, God willing, in just a few moments.
That wasn't me. Hi, 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 hi.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to each of you this Shabbat evening. How nice to be here in the small sanctuary. We can be close together, a little more intimate. We have our stream working. That's like Shehechianu right there in the small sanctuary. And we have the chance to bring in Shabbat together, to let go of whatever stress or anxiety the week might have held for you, and to breathe that out, letting it go as we enter into Shabbat together. Some of you did it, but let's just do that. Let's take that breath, and let's breathe it all out. Oh, I needed that breath. I was flipping through one of my favorite books of prayers and blessings by Naomi Levy and ran across this blessing, and it's labeled a blessing for a parent to say to a child. But I find this blessing to be meaningful. I think this is a blessing each of us need. So I'm going to share it now as we enter into Shabbat for each of us. May all the gifts hidden inside you find their way into the world. May all the kindness of your thoughts be expressed in your deeds. May all your learning lead to wisdom. May all your efforts lead to success. May all the love in your heart be returned to you. May God bless your body with health and your soul with joy. May God watch over you night and day and protect you from harm. May all your prayers be answered. Amen.
Amen.
And with those words, let us bring in Shabbat with the light of our Shabbat candles. I'd love to invite forward Joe and Carol Newman to help us kindle our Shabbat candles this evening. And for anyone else who wishes, we have tea lights over on this table if anyone else wishes to light your own Shabbat candles this evening.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat shalom.
So this is our first Shabbat of the month, which means that we have the opportunity to share some words of blessing. First, I'd love to invite forward anyone who has a June birthday. If you have a June birthday, come on up this way. Yeah, no need to go sit down and then come back up, right? Either way.
Malka does have I think she's with the kids.
June birthdays. Malka can receive it from afar. Well, what a treat it is to have the chance to share words of blessing with you in honor of your June birthdays. I won't ask how many years, but tell me which day of the month is your birthday?
20th.
June 20th.
15th.
The 15th.
10th.
The 10th.
16.
And the 16th. Wonderful. Well, it is a month of celebration for you, and that means for all of us. My hope and my prayer for your birthday is that you have a chance on your birthday not only to celebrate, not only to enjoy, but to reflect as well, to look back over the years that have passed, the ways that you have grown and developed, the good that you have each brought into the world within your close circles of connection and far beyond. May this be a year of strength, of health, of joy, and of new adventures. May you remember that every single day brings the opportunity for joy, for blessing, and for bringing goodness into the world. May it be a great year. May it be a wonderful year, but may it only be a taste of the wonderful years that are yet to come. Happy birthday and Mazel Tov.
Amen. Mazel tov. And it is my pleasure to bless those who are here celebrating a wedding anniversary. So those who... Alan's not leaving. I got to say, who doesn't love a summer wedding, right? Although a summer wedding in Arizona, that's a different story. Come on up. Wow, we are blessed with abundance, including the seagulls. The seagulls and the sigils. All right, here we go. So, please share how many years you've been married and where you were married on that special, special day.
Chicago and 49 years.
Beat the Maryland 56.
56
Years.
Where was it?
Maryland.
In Maryland.
Bel Air, Maryland.
Bel Air, Maryland.
41 years, and we were married in Bethel in Phoenix.
Bethel and Phoenix. Very good. 41 years.
66 years. Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Of course in Iowa.
Me too.
Yeah.
Arnie was there. We think Arnie was there. Dennis and Lori, how many years?
54 years, Brookline, Massachusetts.
Very good. We're doing a tour of the country here. This is great. Hello. How many years?
13 years in Virginia.
13 years ago in Virginia. On this day?
Not this day, June 20th.
June 20th. Very good.
Hello. How are you, Ken? Thank you.
How many years have you been married?
It'll be 45
45 years, and where were you married?
in Cleveland.
Of course.
Mhm.
Yeah. Hi there.
Hi, 44 years in Skokie.
44 years in Skokie. Maybe right up the road. Right up the road. Very good. Well, it is just lovely to see this bima bursting with love. And our prayer tonight, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, God of our ancestors, may these loving couples be blessed on this day, this month of their wedding. May they reflect with deep gratitude upon that special day when they held each other close and their souls became one. While some years may have passed quickly and some a little more slowly, many and varied have been their experiences since that moment. May they recall with sweetness the joys that sustained them and be thankful for the strength that allowed them to weather the storms. In this moment of recognition, God, we ask that you continue to bless them as they look into each other's eyes and express their love. Amen. Let's sing together Shehecheyanu for our birthdays and our anniversaries. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higiyanu lazman hazeh Simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simen tov, mazel tov, simen tov, Yelan. Mazel tov. Have a seat, friends.
Well, as we just celebrated love and connection, we will continue in our prayer books on page 1 with Yedid Nefesh. Beloved of my soul, draw me close, God of compassion.
Yedi nefesh av harachaman, Yedi nefesh av harachaman, Neshochav decha el ritzonecha, Meshochav decha, Yelai lai 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 el ritzonecha. Yarut avdecha kemo ayal, Ishtachavei lai 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 el vol hadarecha. Yerav lo yedidutecha, ninofet suf yai lai 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 vechotam. Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Yedid nefesh av harachaman, Meshochav decha el ritzonecha, Meshochav decha, Yai lai 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 el ritzonecha.
On page 4 from Psalm 96, we are looking 6 lines up from the bottom in the Hebrew. On page 4.
Ya'alo sadai lechol asher bo, Ya'alo sadai, ay 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 ay, Ya'alo sadai lechol asher bo, Ya'alo sadai, ay 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 ay, ad yiranenu kol hatzeyar, ad yiranenu ad yiranenu kol hatzeyar, ad yiranenu kol hatzeyar, Ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo, Ya'alo sadai, ay 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 ay, Ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo, Ya'alo sadai, ay 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 ay, ad yiranenu kol hatzeyar, ad yiranenu kol hatzeyar, ad yiranenu kol hatzeyar, ad yiranenu kol hatzeyar, Ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo, Ya'alo sadai, ay 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 ay, Ya'alo sadai v'chol asher bo, Ya'alo sadai, ay 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 ay.
On page 6, where you see the asterisk, we will continue.
Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, bechatzotzrot v'kol shofar. Ariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, Zamru l'Adonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, bechatzotzrot v'kol shofar. Ariu lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayam umra'o, tevel ve'yod yishpot haaretz, yishpot tevel b'tzedek, ve'amim b'meisharim, yiram hayam omro, tevel ve'yoshveva, neharot imcha uchaf, yachad harim yiraneinu, yiram hayam omro, tevel ve'yoshveva, neharot imcha uchaf, yachad harim yiraneinu.
We will turn together now to page 9. Page 9 for Adonai Oz Lamo Yitain. That is 2 lines from the bottom of the Hebrew in the top paragraph on page 9.
Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitein, Adonai Yivarech et Amo, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitein, Adonai Yivarech et Amo. Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitein, Adonai Yivarech et Amo, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitein, Adonai Yivarech et Amo. Here in our small sanctuary, our voices really carry. Let's try that last part together, just our voices. Shalom. Shalom. Beautiful.
On page 10, beginning on page 10, we will continue welcoming in Shabbat with joy with Lecha Dodi. We will sing together the verses with asterisks. And on the final verse, verse 9, we will rise together as we are able and face the entrance to welcome the presence of Shabbat.
Ya la 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 lecha dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat nekah, ya la 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 lecha dodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 b'nei Shabbat, b'nei Shabbat. Shamor v'zachor Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mikol habracha mirosh mikedem nezucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava techila Mikdash Melech Yir Melucha Kumitei Mitoch Ha'efecha Raham Lach Shevesh B'yemek Habacha V'hu Yachamol Alayich Hamla Shabbat nekabela Itorri Kiva ore Kuhumi ori Uri Shir daberi Ya la 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 likrat kala Ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat nekabela Boi v'shalom Hateret bala Gam b'simcha uv'tola Toch emunei Am segula Boi chala Ya la 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 lechadodi Ya la 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 likrat kala Ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat
We remain standing now as we turn to page 15. Page 15 and continue with Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabba Be'almati v'rach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei V'chayechon v'yomechon Uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael Bagala Uv'izmahan kariv imeru Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevarach Le'alam Ola'alam Me'alamaya Yitbarach Ve'yishtabach Ve'yitpa'ar V'yitromam Ve'yitnaseh Ve'yitadar V'yitaleh Ve'yitalal Shemei Dekudsha Rechulehei min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'alma v'imeru Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam vaed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach. Umavir yom umevi laila. Umavdil ben yom uvein laila Adonai tzvahot shemo. Elachai v'kayam. Tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai. Hamari v'aravi. Mahavat olam beit Yisrael. Ki hemachayenu ve'orech yameinu. Uvahem nehege yomam v'layla. Ve'ahavatecha. Al tasir mimenu le'olamim. Baruch atah Adonai. Ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Leolam Vaed.
And we can be seated. Page 18.
Ve'ahavta bechol levavecha uvechol nafshecha Uvechol me'odecha V'hayu hadvarim ha'ele
Asher Anochi
Mitzavecha Hayom alevavecha V'shinantam levanecha V'dibarta bam V'shivtecha b'veitecha Uv'lechtecha v'derech Uvshoch becha, uvkumecha, ukshartam leot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot bein einecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Lema antizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'Elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihyot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem emet.
By Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt. Becoming. But Moshe said to God, "Who am I to go to Pharaoh?" And God said, "I will be with you. I am becoming who I am becoming. It is time for you to do the same." Everyone else walked right by, but you saw the miracle burning. Pick up your staff now and make yourself ready. The journey ahead is long, and generations will comb their stories to learn how you tied your shoes and how to lead the people with compassion and with vision, as you are about to do. Page 21.
Yalla lai 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 yalla lai 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 yalla lai 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 yalla lai 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 yalla lai 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 yalla lai 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 yalla lai 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 כמוך נהדר בקודש נורא תהילות אוסף אלה מלכותך ראו בניך תוקי הים לפני משה ומרים זה לי אנו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם לעולם ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו ברוך אתה אדוני קהל ישראל.
Oh God, enable us to lie down in sleep this night and raise us up to life renewed, spreading over us a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu L'shalom, L'shalom, Ha'amidenu Malkeinu L'chayim. Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Ufros aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Amen. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Amen. Amen.
On the top of page 23, we will continue with Vishamru, after which we will have a few moments for silent prayer, the silent Amidah. I invite you to rise as you are able.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש Shabbat vayinafashu vayom hashvi. Shabbat vayinafash. Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat. La'asod et ha-Shabbat ledorotam b'rit olam. Oh, say shalom, shalom imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, Amen. Oh, say shalom, shalom imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
At this time in our service, we have the opportunity to call into our hearts all those who are in need of healing. Whether that is healing of mind, of body, or of spirit. We each have people in our lives within our circles of connection in need of healing. And there may be some among us this evening in need of that same healing. If you would like to share the name of someone for whom you are praying as we sing our Rabbi Shabbat prayer, if you've joined us streaming online, I invite you to share those names in the chat or in the comments. And present in the room, I invite you to share those names as I look around the room. Mishaberach can be found in our prayer books on page 34. Page 34.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mikor HaBracha Laimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mikor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirits, and let us say Amen.
In considering our Torah portion this week, I have been thinking of a Hasidic story once shared with me by a colleague. The story goes that there is a young, vibrant, enthusiastic, and talented scholar who approached his wise and learned rabbi in distress one day. The young scholar wailed, "Rabbi, I come home from the yeshiva an hour before Shabbat, and I find the table is not set, the children are not yet bathed, and the whole house is a mess. How am I supposed to devote myself to my studies when I have such problems in my household?" Fully expecting his wise, bearded rabbi to empathize with him and advise him perhaps to rebuke his wife, the scholar paused. His rabbi responded with surprise, raising his eyebrows. "What should you do? Grab a broom." Whether in a household or in a community, the work it takes to make each day happen, whether or not we're preparing that day for Shabbat, whether it's making the meals or sweeping the floors, getting from A to B, that work so often goes unacknowledged or even unnoticed, and too often taken for granted. Yet bearing the burden of keeping everything running is just as important as it is often unseen. Our Torah portion this week, Naso, which comes from the book of Numbers, you'll note both last week and this week have been Naso, making the Reform movement line up again after Shavuot with the other movements. So our Torah portion, Naso, begins with a description of the tasks of the Gershonites and the Merarites. These are two specific groups of priests who are entrusted with the role of breaking down and moving the tabernacle, that portable wilderness that the Israelites utilized during their wanderings. So they are tasked with breaking down, moving all of the sacred implements as well and the items used within, and then setting them up again wherever the Israelites landed. This would have been incredible physical work, constructing, deconstructing, carrying items made of wood and metalwork and heavy curtains. This section of this week's Torah portion reminded me also of a description in Leviticus in Parshat Tzav of how at the beginning of each day, the first thing that the priests are supposed to do is to clean out the ashes from yesterday's sacrificial fire. They are to remove their ornate priestly garments, dress instead in simple linen, take the ashes from the base of the fire, and bring them outside of the camp to a pure place. Essentially, before beginning the sacrificial work of the day, every morning the priests were commanded to clean up yesterday's mess. Among the long and seemingly foreign details of bloody sacrificial service, this detail feels kind of familiar You have to do last night's dinner dishes and wipe the schmutz off the counters before you can make breakfast and fill your sink again with those dirty dishes. We have to clear out yesterday's ashes, so to speak. Some commentators posit that the Torah portions mentioning the priests in particular cleaning out the ashes in Leviticus, and in this week's Torah portion, the special groups of priests, specifically the schleppers, the breaking down, the putting up. It was the priests, meaning men of status, who cleaned up, who schlepped, who carried. And that these tasks were not simply passed off perhaps to women or to people who didn't have special status. Of course, these commentaries to me beg the question, while the men were continually stoking the fire of the Ner Tamid and cleaning out the ashes of the sacrifices and breaking down and putting back up, who do they think was lighting the fire under the cooking pot or cleaning the ashes at home or schlepping the kids from A to B? But I digress. This moment in Torah when the mundane tasks are mentioned stands out at least in part because of how often in Torah the background work really does go unnoticed. Abraham is credited for his vast hospitality, but it's his servants and Sarah who do the real work of preparing meals and tending to guests. Noah is credited for his faith and his obedience, but it's Mrs. Noah, who's not even named in Torah, who kept the household running while Noah was endlessly outside hammering. And I have a feeling she worked just as hard, if not harder, once they were on the ark itself. Our Torah portion's explicit description of the setup and breakdown and carrying of the tabernacle, just like cleaning out the day's ashes, acknowledges and lifts up the behind-the-scenes work we too often take for granted. Sometimes, like that Hasidic story talked about, we need to pick up a broom. None of us, no matter our level of leadership or scholarship, are above the bits of work that over a lifetime make life happen and keep households and communities running. It's not only regarding the gender stereotypes around household work that are all too deeply entrenched still that we have this tendency. We give actors and directors acclaim and are much less likely to think of costume and set designers or the food service workers who feed them all. We praise authors and forget publishers and editors and printers or the people who clean their offices each day. We admire the chef but think much less of those washing the dishes and sweeping the floors and ordering the food and on and on. And in our synagogues and our own Temple Chai community, there's a lovely habit of acknowledging clergy who lead the services and life cycle teachers and educators who connect with students and so much more. But all too often, it's easy to forget our maintenance crew without whom nothing would happen, who works so hard, as well as our comptroller, our volunteers answering the phone, the people who work in the office. And as I wrote this Devar Torah, I got a phone call from my dearest friend. She is the executive director of a congregation in Chicago. And when I shared with her what I was writing about, she chuckled and said, "Let me know if you want to hear a little bit about how QuickBooks works." Not only is the behind-the-scenes work at synagogue or at home valuable, but our Torah portion teaches us that it's also sacred work. I'm reminded of that beloved role of the shamus in the synagogue for generations, who lined the sidurim back up on the shelves, who threw away the trash, who swept the floor. Our communities have long understood that this is holy work, just as essential to the functioning of the community as the wisdom of a scholar or rabbi, the prayers of the community, or even the voice of the cantor. Now, taking this to our own lives, I don't think it's realistic for parents and caretakers to always and every single moment be feeling, with every dish washed, every Lego stepped on and then put away, every load of laundry done and folded, that their work is precious and joyous and sacred in every moment. It's tiring. It's never ending. Yet there is real truth in what Joyce Maynard wrote. It's sad but true that if you focus your attention on housework and meal preparation and diapers, raising children does start to look like drudgery pretty quickly. On the other hand, if you see yourself as nothing less than your child's nurturer, role model, teacher, spiritual guide, and mentor, your days take on a very different cast. Put differently, when we understand the impact of this day-to-day work, however detailed and tough and tiring, we know that that work is actually holy drudge work. Holy drudge work. I've been thinking of this quote and of our Torah portion this week as I spent much of my time outside the temple office painstakingly preparing my kids' camp duffels with all of the needed supplies. Gosh, has it been a lot. But with each errand that I ran and load of laundry moved from washer to dryer and each little name label painstakingly put on each t-shirt and sunscreen tube and bottle of shampoo, I knew that as I was folding their clothing and their socks, I was also folding in my love and my care. I was adhering not only labels, but prayers for safety and love, that this will be a summer of growth and adventure and joy. The little work of life, the repetitive work, are seemingly small actions that sometimes barely seem to have an effect, even when we feel a little bit like Sisyphus and that boulder. Truly, it's holy drudgery. Our Torah portion reminds us not to be so concerned with carrying out glamorous and glorious and impressive deeds, but rather to focus our energy on the small and often unnoticed righteous acts of gemilut chasadim, of kindness. We too must wake each morning and in our regular clothing clear out yesterday's ashes. We too need to roll up our sleeves to set up and break down and schlep. This week, let us acknowledge the daily work, the important little holy actions of others, of our spouses, our partners, our family members, of the service people we hire to help make our lives happen, and let us express gratitude. This week as well, let us remember that what we may perceive as menial work may actually be perhaps the holiest work in God's eyes. May we each realize that the tiny, seemingly mundane acts of our lives can also be vessels for holiness and sanctity. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Amen. Thank you. It is my pleasure now to invite forward Megan Kramer, representing our board of directors, to share some words of greeting and a few announcements with us.
You guys ready for the second sermon? Just kidding.
Stand up over here. How's everybody doing?
Shabbat shalom, everyone. First, talking about the Ukrainian refugee family that we've matched with Bethel to help resettle in Phoenix. The Isaacsons are leading this project, so if you're interested, please let them know. My in-laws do this at their synagogue in Massachusetts, and it's been one of the most meaningful, I think, experiences in their life. They've helped resettle a couple of families, so we are looking forward to helping with that here. Makom, Mr. Rabbi Siegel, Senor Rabbi Siegel, is going to be starting the Makom project. There's a lot of Jews in central Phoenix area and not a lot of places for them to go. And so Temple High is starting the Makom project starting this June 10th, although, starting seriously in the fall, I think. The very first meeting is going to be Havdalah, and it is at Civic Space Park in downtown Phoenix at 7 p.m. on June the 10th. And that is, if you guys have been near downtown, there's this beautiful thing that looks like a huge jellyfish in the sky, kind of floating above downtown Phoenix, and that's Civic Space Park, a very cool space to launch this project. Bring your own drinks and dairy dessert. Religious school, registration is underway. See link in eHigh. Best of Phoenix, Jewish News has released Reader's Choice. We won a lot of things this year. We won first place for Alternative Shabbat, which I think we have gotten before. It's very, as we know, we have the best alternative Shabbats here. Children and teen programming, best preschool, this is a big deal. And we got second place for Judaica Shop and our young adult programming run by Chi. So good job, everyone. Summer camp. Do you have a child attending camp this summer? If so, let us know, and we will send them mail from their Temple High family. Let, I presume, one of these people know, or Amanda. Escape the heat. There are 3 events outside of Phoenix this summer. In Prescott at the home of Jackie Shankin and Michael Schwimmer. This is the rabbis pointing out on your flyer. For Havdalah on Saturday, June 29th at 7 p.m. Flagstaff at the home of Carmen and Michael Blank, August 4th at 6 p.m. Or Munns Park at the home of Frank Blake and Kathy Shalin, Saturday, August 5th, 6 p.m. Havdalah. Please RSVP. And board members wear these badges. There are some of us here tonight. You can talk to us about anything you like. Complaints welcome.
I haven't heard that one before.
Shabbat shalom.
Thank you, Megan. We will continue now with the concluding prayers of our service. Aleinu can be found on page 38. Page 38 of your prayer books, and we rise together as we are able.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, Vanahachnu koreim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu shehu notei shamayim v'yisrael tzamar shavi karo b'shamayim Litakein olam b'malchut Shaddai, kakatuv b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed, v'nemar v'haya Adonai, lemelech ala kol haaretz, bayom hahu yihyeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad.
You may be seated. We think now of all those we have loved and lost, friends, family, members of our congregational community for whom we are in a period of mourning or observing a yahrzeit. As a congregational community, remember those who died in recent days. If you are present remembering these individuals, I invite you to rise. We remember Nanette Solomon and Norman Weiser. If anyone else present is remembering someone for a yahrzeit or a period of mourning, or simply remembering someone at this time whose name you would like to share, I invite you to rise as you are able to share those names. If you've joined us streaming online, please share the names of those you are remembering in the chat or in the comments. We can hold them close in our hearts with our own. The Mourner's Kaddish can be found on page 40 of your prayer books. We rise together as one community in support of those who are in mourning. Yit gadal v'yit kadash shemei rabbah, b'yama divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayachon uv'yomechon, Uvchaye d'chol Beit Yisrael, Ba'gala uvizman kari v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'lamei amaya. Yit barach v'yishtabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit tromam v'yit naseh. V'yit hadar v'yit ale v'yit halal shmei d'kudusha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbachata v'nechemata, Damiran Bialma Vimru.
Amen.
Amen. Yehe Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. Vimru. Amen.
Amen.
Oseh Shalom Bimromav. Hu Ya'aseh Shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. Vimru. Amen.
Amen.
May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn and comfort to all who are bereaved, as again we say, Amen. We will continue together now with Kiddush, wine, our symbol of joy, and it is my pleasure to invite forward Megan Kramer and Rabbi Emily Langowitz to lead us in Kiddush, which can be found on page 41. Page 41.
And if you end up going to the symphony and the chorus is singing, you might recognize a face in the choir.
A rabbinic face.
A rabbinic face.
In the back row, because I'm tall. Go for it. Do you have the words? Are you good? That's right. Oh, great. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzav ba'anu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit ki hu yom tefillah v'mikra'e kodesh zecher l'tziat Mitzrayim kivanu acharta v'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shavat kodshecha v'ahava uvratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh hashabbat
L'chaim. And as we are about to conclude our service, I want to give our cantor just blessings and hope for a very restful and rejuvenating sabbatical as he's headed on sabbatical for the rest of the month. May you come back to us refreshed and inspired and just like we started this Shabbat. Baruch atah b'voecha, Baruch atah b'tzeitecha, as you were blessed, bringing blessings with you into this sanctuary. So may you be blessed, bringing blessings with you as you go. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat, 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 Shabbat shalom. Welcome back to the small sanctuary. We haven't done it since 2019.